Hi everybody, it's a long overdue Beatles finds update, and this is going to be probably the biggest one that I've ever shown on my channel in the over 4 years that I've been making these videos. And it has a background story that I want to share with you if you're interested, and it has to do with a record store in Princeton, New Jersey, and it's called Princeton Record Exchange, and how this collection that I went in and cherry-picked came about. Well, I guess the story really starts about a week ago, last Sunday. I went to see Paul McCartney live at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. And while I was there, I met Marvin, who is a friend of mine, and he's actually a guy on YouTube that makes videos. You can look him up. His handle here is Beatle Vinyl 85. And it was great meeting Marv, and we enjoyed the concert. And then the next day, or I think it was the next day, he went over to look for records, and he went to this store called Princeton Record Exchange in Princeton. And he said that it was amazing. He even posted a video on his channel where he showed himself flipping through the various records, and he called me up and said, you know, you're not going to believe this. They've got like a thousand or more records. There's a collection that they bought, and there's everything in there you want to know about. I mean, albums that we're familiar with, UK, US, also other imports from other countries, bootlegs, picture discs, everything under the sun. And I really kind of was actually a little skeptical, thought maybe he was exaggerating, until he actually showed me the video of him flipping through the records. And immediately, of course, I almost had a heart attack. My mouth was watering, and I said, I gotta get this, gotta get there, I gotta go pick through the records. I'm already nervous talking about it, and it's really an effort to try to stay calm considering what it was. There's only a problem that I had to deal with, though, was first of all I didn't have the cash, and which is not a good time for this collection to have come about, and also the fact that I didn't have the time to go there. So it took me well over a week before I was able to actually make the journey there from where I live, and it's a 2-hour drive. You know, so it's not the worst commute in the world, right? I mean, especially for a one-shot deal. Finally, I was able to make the trek, and I'm so glad I did. But one of my concerns was going to be that, you know, this collection had already been sitting there for about a week, and in addition to Marv putting his video up, there was also a message board where a lot of fans were talking about it. There was a big thread on it, and people were discussing, you know, they're going to get down to Princeton Record Exchange, and some of them were saying that it's already been well picked, there's not much left. And I'm like, oh my God, you know, that was my big fear. By the time I get there, is there going to be anything left? Luckily for me, they said most of what was left was bootlegs and imports, and that's my primary interest. I'm not really interested so much in the standard records that we see all the time. It's the unusual stuff with the unusual covers that I like. So when I went there was still a lot left, I'm happy to say, and I actually looked through the bins and came out with 52 record albums. And I'm going to show all 52 here. I don't know how long this video is going to be. You can just pause it, zip through it, sit back and relax. You know, have a beer, soda, juice, lemonade, whatever you like. Alright, so without further ado, I'm going to start. This is an amazing collection. I think I don't know if somebody passed away or somebody just wound up selling their collection, but here we go. Start with the first series is this Beatles at the Beeb. It's a series that had come out unofficially, and it was a 13-volume series. I bought this. You're going to hear me refer to this a lot. Anybody who watches my channel will know what I call my original record collection that I had of the Beatles way back when. And I'm sorry I repeat this so much, but for those who don't know, I sold off my collection stupidly, and I got back into vinyl 5 years ago, and I've been trying to buy everything back. This Beatles at the Beeb series, I only had in the past 5 years I've been collecting records again. I've only been able to find volume 6 of the 13, so I got the other 12 that I was missing here in one shot. And I should also mention that the prices of these, this is volume 2 of Beatles at the Beeb, by the way. The prices of these were very, very affordable. The prices were very good. very reasonable, and that in itself was amazing as well. See, I like the cover art, I like the jackets. A lot of this, you know, is not really important to people now because a lot of the BBC tracks, not all of them, but a good chunk of them have been released legitimately on CD and vinyl. So, you know, it's funny, before I show the next one, I just want to say quickly, you know, I had been at a record show several months ago, and when I went there was a guy who says, you know, I have all 13 volumes of these. If you want them, I sell them to you for $500. Well, I didn't have $500 just like that to buy them, and I wouldn't have anyway. That's really expensive. I'm not going to tell how much I paid for these per se, but you can figure it out maybe. But I will say this is volume 3. Nice covers. I will say that much cheaper, than ridiculously cheaper than the money that I would have paid had I gone ahead and taken that guy's offer. I don't really have any place to put these. Okay, this is always a nice cover that I like, volume 4. I'm going to take it out of here. It's a really nice image of the Beatles. I really like this cover. It's always been one of my favorite photos of them. And it's so nice to have on a record cover. To get these all back in one shot like that. And that's another theme I'm going to be saying throughout the video. You know, I got all of these records, so many records that I wanted to get back from my old collection of the 1970s and 80s that were gone, that I've been trying to get back for 5 years. I was actually able to get back in just one visit to this store. This has always been one of my favorite album covers. I mean, this, I really wouldn't mind this being the thumbnail. I really hope it shows up, or maybe I'll take a picture of me separately. I love this volume 5, one of my all-time favorite album covers, legit or unofficial. The back, you know, isn't really much to see. Now the next one is volume 6 in the series, but I'm not going to show that one. It's one that I've shown before. I have volume 6. It's the only one I was able to find at a record show. This one here is kind of a knockoff of the German album, The Beatles Beat. This is Beatles at the Beeb number 7. It's kind of familiar to the German Beatles Beat cover. Next one, volume 8, Beatles at the Beeb. You know, my girlfriend said, what does Beeb mean? You may well ask. It's the BBC. It's a nickname for the BBC. Beatles at the Beeb. A beautiful cover shot here. Just nice. Worth owning for the covers alone. Sound quality is very good on these records. And this is what all you had at the time. You know, you couldn't really get the Beatles BBC released by Apple. So at the time, this was really nice to have all this whole series, you know. Here's volume 9. Okay, next one we go to is volume 10, which is a knockoff of the Hard Day's Night UK album cover. Really nice. And the back is similar too, of course, different photos on the bottom. Okay, now we go on to number 11. Really like this one. I didn't mention though one of these albums, I think it was volume 2, is sealed. In fact, there were a few of these that were still sealed, but you know, in this particular case, a lot of the ones that were sealed did look like they were the covers were getting tight and warped. So volume 2 of this that I showed, if you want to go back, is sealed. Now we go to volume 12. More BBC radio performances. And we're going to follow that up with the last one in this particular series. At least I think it was the last one. Beatles at the Beeb, volume 13. Before I go on, I just want to tell a little bit of a story. There was an album that somehow wasn't in the package when I got it home. I don't know if they forgot to put it in, or I might have inadvertently put it back. Anybody out there who's a big Beatle fan might know of an album cover. It has a candelabra, and there's 4 candles on it, burning candles, and the second candle, I guess, is supposed to be Paul. Paul's dead. I don't know. And the flame is out, and it's called Very Together. And the Very Together album was there, and I found it really nice condition, but I had it in my pile. I don't know what. Somehow it didn't make it home, so I missed that one. All right, here's another knockoff. This is the Beatles at the Beeb with Pete Best, as it's called, and it's not part of that series, just another knockoff. And I think the one I'm going to show next is also one that's not really part of the series, kind of a knockoff. It's called Meet the Beeb. And again, you got to understand, I had all these albums in my old collection, and it might have taken me forever to get them back, and then to just make one trip, 2-hour trip, and get them all in one shot. It was really phenomenal. This is one of the best boots that are out there in its time, called Broadcasts. I already had this one. I showed it in a video a couple of years ago. But this one I got only because I was just really interested in getting it on the black label. I don't know, that's the way I had it originally when I found it many years ago. And the one that I had before this has a green label. The green label one is going to be sold, and I'm going to try to get money for more Beatles product. So that's how you do it, right? Okay, now we're finally, I think we're done with the BBC now, but we're going to go to some other stuff. This is a Russian album, Hard Day's Night. Russian version of it. And, you know, I don't like showing the labels on everything because it takes too much time. But some of them I will. There you go. There's the label. Okay, the next couple of albums I was so happy to be able to get together in one shot. And I realized, by the way, a lot of these you can obtain on just by going online, you know, going on certain websites that sell records and you can get them online. And I have done a little of that. Anyway, there are 2 albums that are Let It Be or Get Back sessions. And first one is this one, which I believe is called The Real Case Has Just Begun. It's got a picture of John on there. And really great sound quality. And I remember at the time thinking there was some Let It Be stuff that I wasn't used to hearing everywhere before this. And they have another one here that's called Codename Russia. And from the same series, Switzerland. These 2 are from Switzerland, it says on it anyway. And yeah, these were really good Let It Be outtakes. You know, it's funny, this one was really cheap. It was cheaper than all the other ones, and I'm thinking maybe the people who priced them didn't realize that you know, this was not a Ringo album. Maybe they thought it was a Ringo solo album or something, so they priced a Ringo album cheaper. It's a Beatles album. Okay, now this is an official record. This is not a boot, and it's a really nice copy in mono of the Canadian album Beatlemania with the Beatles. I had only a reissue of this. It's good to be able to get it in original. The back is not perfect. It's got writing. If Elizabeth Kavanaugh is out there, Elizabeth, you're famous now. You're on the channel here. So Elizabeth Kavanaugh's record. The record, which I checked out, really, really nice shape. I mean, there's not. Oh, I thought it was. There's a little bit of a scratch, but I don't really know if I don't know if it's going to come through. You're not supposed to touch records. I know. Ooh, don't worry, I'm going to clean it. Anyway, and it has I guess the original inner sleeve in it here. So that's an added bonus of sorts. Okay, I'm gonna show another Canadian album now. This one is one that I had also as a reissue. This is, I believe, is an original. It's the cardboard is very thick on it. It's the Beatles' second album. The first most noticeable difference you have here is that you can see it says the big stereo over here, which is different. And they had a bunch of these there on orange capital label, but this one here, and again, it looks like it's never been played. I mean, the last one had a little bit of a scratch on it that looks like it was just a mark. Didn't really affect it. But this one, I mean, look at it. Does it do it justice? It's that brand new. I'm trying to hold it on just the right angle to show you. It's brand new. Hey, you know something, folks? I have a hair in my mouth right now, and I really should pick it out, but I don't think I'm going to do that on camera. Here's a bootleg that I used to have in my old collection. You know what? I'm going to... Just took the hair out. This is a bootleg I got. I had it in my old collection. It's called Rough Notes. And I actually bought another copy of this because it's the same album, but has a different photo on it. That's weird. This one is also in shrink wrap. Well, it's got the shrink on it, so it was cheap. It had the shrink wrap, a different cover, so I got both. And I remember this one is really good because it has a really nice rough version of Band on the Run on it, which is really good. Paul McCartney, that is. Okay, I had this, what do you call it, a copy of this in my collection. This is the album that never came to be, called Sessions, which was going to have stuff now that is routinely available on Anthology in really great quality. This is, I mean, the first time, I think this is from 1985. I mean, they were going to put an album like this out. I think this might have been the actual cover, but they never put it out. And the label here is just a black label. But I had a copy of this that I got at a flea market, but it's a new copy. It's a modern reissue of this. It's not, so I'm going to sell that one off. This is, I believe, the original boot. Okay, here's an interesting find. This is an album by Pete Best called Best of the Beatles. Now, I had this for many, many years. I showed it in another collection, but what's different about this is it's in great quality. The one I had is all scratched up to hell. This is in beautiful quality. And get a load of this. I don't know if they noticed or didn't care, but I noticed it. Pete Best signed it. This is an autograph. That's Pete Best's signature, no doubt about it. I know Pete Best's signature. And he signed this copy. So I got a Pete Best autograph on top of having the album. Okay, here's a really nice cover. Beatles Almost Grown, it's called. That's really nice. So, and you know, you're getting you know, here it looks like more Let It Be stuff. You know, that's the thing. A lot of these, it's not like all these albums have different material on them. It's the same kind of material, just repackaged, really. Then you get stuff like this that's different. This is one of these albums I needed. It's an interview album called Here, There, Everywhere. And it's the Beatles on different tours and press conferences. There's a whole series of these that came out by this Psychedelic Records company. And this is one that I needed. This is another discussion album, interviews and press conferences from 1965 and 1966. Really nice package on this one. I really like this one. Okay, I'm glad I had an opportunity to get this one at my regular record store and passed it up. I'm glad I did, because this one actually has a hype sticker too. It's a picture disc. Hear the Beatles Tell All, and it's got a nice hype sticker, which I don't believe the one I passed on had at the time, and it was more expensive than this. Some of these were really amazing prices. Really, too good to be true. As I say, this is a once-in-a-lifetime collection. When people say in the future, they ask questions, what's some of the best bargains you've ever had? What's some of the best record buying situations you ever came across? This is probably the number one for me. This is funny. This is an album that has a beautiful cover, which is the main reason for owning it. It's not really a very good, very necessary record anymore. There was a tour in 1983, I think. You could go into Abbey Road Studios and hear the Beatles outtakes and some outtakes and things like that. And this is a very crude recording of the actual show. But since then, we've had a lot of these come out legitimately already now on, well, some of them are legitimately and some of them not legitimately, but in great sound quality. That's really lousy sound quality. Now, this is something I'm interested in. I'm not 100% sure what this is. Okay. It's called the Beatles Posters, Incense, and Strobe Candles. And you can read that again on the back there. That's a picture of Ringo. And what it is just I'm going to read a little bit of the back. But according to Beatle folklore, promotional copies of their unreleased 1969 Get Back LP were distributed to radio stations in the United States. No promotional copies of the album were issued, although many radio stations aired tapes which were in circulation at the time. Some stations aired an undocumented mix of Get Back, which mirrors the final track listing of the LP as documented in the Beatles recording session. So basically, this is a tape that has different mixes on here of the songs as we know them. And this is kind of like, it even has this song called The Walk on it. And it's far and away the best sounding tape of this material you're ever likely to hear. And this broadcast is preserved with DJ monologues, commercials, just the way it would have been aired on the radio, like the first sneak preview, as I understand it, of the Get Back, Let It Be album. So I really want to hear this. This is the one I'm most interested in hearing. I've never heard that before. Okay, this is another copy of the Sessions album of outtakes and stuff. This is a gatefold, actually. Beatle boots on the back. But this one's a gatefold. It opens up and it has some nice shots in there. Information. Again, the same material, but a different package. And, we all have our interests. That's my interest, collecting things like that. Okay, this one here is a double LP. It's the black and white minstrel show with the Beatles. Here the Beatles sing live. Very nice cover, very nice picture. They have it in sections here. The Beatles sing Buddy Holly, Carl Perkins, Chuck Berry, Little Richard. Has like a group back there, I guess, according to the artists that they're covering. And it's more BBC sessions, obviously. So, okay. This is another one of the Let It Be Get Back session boots behind closed doors. I had this in my original collection. This is a lot mintier than the one I had. I remember the one I had was seam split all the way up top. So, it's great. Not only have I pretty much replaced 99% of my old collection now, but I've gotten so many things too that I've never had. Here's something that I had in my old collection. It's the Beatles Conquer America. It's a double record set. Again, like I say, a lot of this stuff, these days, if I want to bother with, just put on the DVD of the actual video performances, rather than spin this thing. But, I like to collect them, like to have them. Okay, here's one that's got a nice cover on it, and it's called Silver Lining. It's a very, very nice cover there. And it's got a whole bunch of different, a lot of different stuff on here, from BBC sessions, Hard Day's Night promo spot, got a little bit of everything. Okay, here's an album. I'm pretty sure I had this in my old collection. It's a Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band rough mix. Now, if I remember correctly, the one, if this is the same one as the one I had, besides having an alternate cover here, it has different mixes on here. You know, the mixes are different, and I remember it sounding very crude, like a crude acetate. Haven't played it yet. So, you know, I'm wondering if it's the same crude acetate or what this is. But I mean, just for the cover alone, who the hell cares what's on it? You know, this one, you know, this one's just nice to have for the cover. Okay, this seems to be a real import. It's called Los Beatles, and it's from Argentina. So this looks to be original. And let's look at the label on this one. There you go. So it's a nice import. You know, there weren't many imports left. I'm sure a lot of good stuff probably went already. I mean, as I say, I couldn't get to this collection for like, actually, it might have been 9 days. I think I got there on the 9th day. So there was 8 days that people had been 8 days a week, right? Couldn't resist that one. 8 days that people were you know, rummaging through this and hand picking whatever it is they wanted out of it. Okay, having a problem with this album, folks. Okay, do this, fix this later. Okay, now I got my last pile here. We got this one's called, with all apologies to Engelbert Humperdinck, it's called Please Release Me. Okay, and again, you know, I don't give a damn what the hell's on the what on the records. I just care about the cover. It's beautiful. But this is different versions of songs that had already been released, and they're probably BBC sessions. I don't think there's any studio outtakes on this one. It's a double record set. Yeah, well, definitely Lend Me Your Comb is obviously only available as the BBC track, but there's some other songs here that are ones they actually recorded in the studio for records. Okay, this one I didn't know what this was. This is called The Beatles Talk Down Under and All Over, Volume 2. Minneapolis, Sydney, Miami, Rome, Tokyo. There's all kinds of interviews on here. You know, there's already an Australian album called The Beatles Talk Down Under, and I guess this is partly Australian and other stuff, but it's got a great gatefold, this one. I mean, just amazing. Really nice. Okay, let's see, next album up here is A Hard Day's Night, version of A Hard Day's Night. I'm trying to think, is this a legitimate? I'm not ready for this one. This is, looks like it's a legitimate import. It says Industria Chilena, Marca Registrada. I don't know. Is that Spanish? I mean, I'm very bad. People out there tell me, you know. There you go. Oh, you know, you can barely speak English with the La Noche de un, etc., etc. It says Chilena there. Okay, Chilena, Chile, Santiago, Chile. Ricky Ricardo, Desi Arnaz singing that. Okay. Next one I really like the cover on too. I mean, so many of these are just beautiful. I mean, suitable for framing just for the covers, right? This one is Nothing But Aging. Really nice 1967 studio shot there. Okay, so that's that one. This, in a way, it's weird. This doesn't really fit in, but it's it's a picture disc of the Milk and Honey album, John and Yoko, Milk and Honey. It was so cheap, I said, sure, why not? I just just threw it on the pile. You know, what the hell? It's never been opened, apparently. It's still sealed in its original packaging. So now I see we're getting into, I guess, the solo pile. I have some solo stuff here now from this point out. Here's a John Lennon one that I had in my original collection. Something precious and rare we have here. And it's got a lot of stuff from the Walls and Bridges sessions. So that's what's on this. And kind of, if I remember correctly, kind of crude sounding as I recall. But it's been a while since I played it. Now we're going to get into Paul McCartney stuff here. Alright, this one here is a Russian album, Wildlife import. I left the price sticker on this. It's only $9.99. The reason I'm leaving it on is because, you know, these stickers were not that easy to get off, and I've been doing some research, and a lot of people are saying, you know, their stickers are tough at this place to get off. I didn't have too much problem with the round ones. Apparently these round stickers are fairly new, and they come off much easier than the old kind of stickers they used to have on they no longer use. But this one I tried getting. The reason I left the sticker on it, I tried peeling it very gently, and this material is very much like, you know, it's papery. It's not glossy, so I could see a little of the blue coming off here with the sticker, so I left it on for this. It's so annoying that he puts stickers right on the album. It's really annoying. I understand why they have to do it though, because, you know, anybody can remove stickers and get something cheaper. Here's a press conference LP. This I have already, but not with this cover. It's Paul McCartney press conference, and it says Madrid and Los Angeles. You know, again, it was only, I think, $6 or something like that. The actual record is on white vinyl. So we got a white vinyl, and also it comes with I have this on a yellow vinyl with a different cover, and this also comes with a 45. This is the Madrid press conference, and I guess this is the Los Angeles press conference that they got me. Okay, next up is a bootleg it's an audience recording. It's for concert of Wings, and I'm thinking it's 1979. It's called Live in Tokyo, and to the best of my knowledge, he never got to play Tokyo because Paul got busted in Japan in January 1980 for pot. And there's a picture of him with the handcuffs with his thumbs up. Everything's going to be all right. And I remember this sound. It's a double album, right? Yeah. I remember it sounding pretty bad, sound quality wise, but you know, it's also every bit as much of a nostalgia for me to have my records back. You know, I want to go back to the past. Remember the days when I had all this stuff. Plus, it's a great cover. Even, you know, I might try the record out again. All right, this is something I've been meaning to have for a long time. And for anybody there who's into Elvis, you should take special note of this, okay? I know we have a bunch of Elvis Presley fans out there, like Ed from the King's Court. Hi, Ed. And we got Jordan out there, Elvis Presley collector. How you doing, Jordan? I don't know if you made it this far, but if you did, I should have showed this at the beginning. It's an album called The Last Temptation of Elvis, and the reason I picked it up was because Paul McCartney does a really great version of It's Now or Never on here, and a lot of different artists doing Elvis songs here. This is one that I passed up a couple of times because anytime I'd seen this, it was really ridiculously priced. This one was so ridiculously low priced. I should say it was ridiculously high priced up till now, and that's why I never bought it. This one was absurdly low priced, which is a good thing. Alright, this one here says George Harrison interview, just written on it. You know, just George Harrison interview. So it was cheap, and I picked it up and looked, and I noticed there was actual notes in here. George Harrison interview. There's a Mike Harrison interview. So Mike Harrison interviews George Harrison, and has things here like the instructions, the radio instructions, opening cue, and dialogue, and then written in it says like where to insert the music. You know, this is where you insert certain songs. This song, True Love. So it's from the 33 1/3 album, which means this is an interview from around the 1976 era from George. And that's going to be pretty cool to hear. This is an old album that's simply called By George, and it's got a lot of tracks here. Miss Odell, Deep Blue, stuff that was singles that you didn't really get, and it's got songs here from the original version of Somewhere in England, stuff like Flying Hour, Lay His Head, Tears of the World, Sat Singing, things like that. Some outtakes. It's a good album. I had it in my original collection, but this was like $9, and there's a store that I go to. It has this for $30. I never touched it. I'm not going to pay $30, you know, but I'll pay $9. I have George Harrison again, all those years ago, promotional 12-inch record, all those years ago. I also have Wake Up My Love from the Gone Troppo album, a promotional 12-inch for the song Wake Up My Love, George. And I also have here what's going to be the last item for this video, the last record that I found at this collection. It's I'm going to talk a little bit after if you want to hang around. It's Baton Rouge, beautiful cover. This is one of the only, there's a couple I think, but there's not many bootlegs of George's tour from 1974, the Dark Horse tour. This is really a phenomenal experience for me. You know, it paid off. When Marv, Beatle Vinyl 85, showed his video, I was looking through as he was flipping through all the records, and I said, oh, I want this one, I want that one, I want this one. Are they going to be there? And it took several days that I could get down there after I saw his vid. And it turned out, yeah, everything that I wanted, pretty much, with very few exceptions, was there, still there. And I picked it pretty good with 52 records. I would say that Princeton Record Exchange is a nice store, and I didn't have a chance to look at everything. I was kind of in a rush. I only spent an hour there. I don't know if the regular sections are anything that I would make this big journey for over and over again on a regular basis. I mean, it was a 2-hour drive for me to get there and 3 hours back. The traffic's worse coming back. That's 5 hours of driving, and you know, it's a whole day affair, which I don't mind. Maybe like every few months, something like that. But it was definitely worth going to for this particular you know, collection that was came in over there. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks a lot to Marv for being the one to alert me to this collection, because I wouldn't have known otherwise. And I'm just real happy that I hope you enjoyed it.